What's up, everybody? My name is Nick from Monolith Zero, and you are listening to Heavy Mental Breakdown.
Monolith Zero. It reminds me of a Linkin Park song. Weren't they called something Zero before they were Linkin Park?
I think they were like Project Zero or something like that, or maybe just Zero, but with an X.
X Zero or something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah. When I first saw that, I don't know why my mind went there. I mean, I'm a huge Linkin Park fan. Well, the old Linkin Park, not the new one. Yeah, when I heard that, I was like, oh, I wonder if there's any Linkin Park connection in there. Probably not, but who knows? I'm going to ask anyway.
No, definitely not.
Definitely
I actually,
not.
I mean, I love Linkin Park. I actually do like the new stuff. I'm not gonna lie, I do like it, as it scratches that old itch from when I was like 10 years old.
It has nothing to do with the sound of it.
No, it has everything to do with Mike Shinoda. That's really
okay. Okay.
But no, it actually doesn't. It's I wanted to initially call the project just Monolith, but I feel like everyone's got something that's Monolith. And I'm a big Mass Effect fan, and one of my favorite characters from the series is named Jack. So before you meet Jack, everyone has like these little dossiers and stuff like that. So Jack's thing was she was like Patient Zero or something like that. So it's like, oh, I can do like Monolith Zero. I'm like, oh, that's cool enough. Yeah, whatever.
That works.
Yeah,
it felt good. It felt good at the moment.
Since then, though, I kind of like just, thought about it. I really love the name just because it's kind of like think about like the first person perspective and the third person perspective, right? Where it's like, when we're all just, living our lives, we're the most important person in the world. Our perspective is usually the most important. And sometimes we lose the forest for the trees. And when you zoom out in the grand scheme of things, like, we're just a little person on this little tiny blue dot in the universe somewhere. And, I think that that's like a nice little metaphor for this stuff, all my music and stuff as well, because, to me, this is like of utmost importance to me in my life and all of that, especially with mental health. Right. Yeah. And, at the same time, like, it doesn't mean a whole lot to anyone but myself. And, it's okay if it means something to somebody else. I'm really happy when that happens, but at the same time, like, it just means something to me, and that's important,
Yeah, when it comes to our passions, no one's going to be as passionate about it as we are.
Right.
So it's like nobody's inside our brain. They don't know what we're thinking. They don't know all the blood, sweat, and tears behind it. They just hear something. But so no one's going to be as passionate about our art as we are, and that's what makes it important for us.
Right.
Because it means that much. Where are you rocking out of? Like, are you in New York? Where are you at?
So yeah, I'm in Farmingdale, New York.
Okay,
so I'm like right on the border of Nassau and Suffolk.
Gotcha. I'm in Brooklyn.
Oh, fuck yeah.
So I'm not sure.
Can I curse on this? I'm sorry.
Fuck yeah, you can.
All right, cool.
What's so funny? I always tell people before we start, if you, I get asked all the time, can we cuss? And my answer is always, fuck yeah, you can cuss.
All right, fuck yeah, dude.
Be yourself, dude. Fuck it.
I really like, I got to make sure I'm not like, cursing like a sailor, because sometimes I do that, but I've been better about it in recent years.
On this podcast, we're about mental health and just getting our shit out. If you need a cuss to let the emotion out,
hell yeah,
then you cuss, dude.
All right, I'm glad we cleared that up.
So have you been? So actually, how long has Monolith Zero been around? Like, when did you start doing this?
So I started. It was my first, like, I started playing guitar like in 2013, 2014. And this was like my project to do stuff under. And I started, I guess, technically in 2014. We didn't start playing out though until 2018.
Okay.
So we've been around for a bit, just not like, there was a little bit of like a couple gap years where I'm like, getting my stuff together and learning how to play guitar, and then, we get out and we play, and then, so I usually would like to say like 2018 because I feel like that's when the band became a real thing and not just something out of my bedroom. But
how has the crowds at the shows perceived your music? How are people digging it?
I was telling my bandmates this the other day because we just got a new drummer. His name is Zach. And I was explaining to Zach, I'm like, just like my expectations and stuff for everything going forward. And one thing that I'll never forget, and it was something that's just every show we play, they receive it really well. Sometimes they don't understand what it is. I remember our first ever headline show. It was at 89 North in 2018. Yeah, 2018. And somebody came up to me after our set and was like, I don't know what the fuck that was, but it was amazing. And I was like, great. Like that's kind of been like the thing, like, every show we have, like we make an impact on somebody. And, it's sometimes it's just like, because we're doing something different. We're doing something that's like, I feel it, whenever I'm up on stage, like I let it out. I'm not really like a very emotive, outgoing person, in my personal life. But when I'm on stage, just let it go, and I think that just in and of itself resonates with people. And yeah, so that's the thing, right? Just I don't know what the fuck it is, but people like it, so cool.
I mean, that's the best compliment you can even get from anybody. They're like, I get it. I felt it. You made someone feel something.
Right.
There's power in that.
Exactly.
There's definitely power in that. So you kind of got started in, well, you say you officially got started in 2018. Just a couple years into really going full force with this, the band, I assume, had to make some kind of a pivot or something. How much of a role in that time did it affect your music and kind of just the route you were kind of just getting full steam on?
Oh, dude, I feel like a broken record whenever I talk about this stuff because when we started playing out, like we had a really good head of steam, and then the pandemic hit. We were like, oh, fuck, what do we do now? Like we had like I was in the middle, like I had booked a bunch of shows. I was like in doing more booking and stuff like that. Like at places like Revolution and MH and stuff like that. Cool. And we were just like, all right, well, can't do anything right now. So, we pivoted and then we made the self-titled album, which was all of the music that we had been playing out and some new things that I had written. And we were just like, well, fuck it. So we just, went into the studio and made that album. And it was a difficult process because, I write everything. So for me, I'm like, I got to make sure everyone's on point. I got to make sure everything is like, up to snuff. And it was, we just went from there to eventually that record came out like 2 years later. Our drummer then quit, and then, we couldn't support that. And then, my keyboardist became our bassist, and then he became the drummer. So we've had a whole bunch of like these weird lineup changes. Yeah. And like it all really just started with that pandemic and having to pivot at that point and not being able to like take the next step into like going, out of state and going on tour and that type of stuff.
So how much of that EP that you put out, how much lyrically and like emotionally did the effect of COVID have on the songwriting itself? Like, was that a place where you can go during that time and you were writing about it, where you were feeling, and then you're like, you know what? I have all these feelings about what's going on right now. I need to write some music. I need to put this negative energy into a positive space. Or like, how was that process for you with music and getting through that time?
I've only got one song that we put. It was the single that was supposed to make the album, but I just put it out as a single. It's called Interloper, which is technically the first song we've released on our platforms and whatnot. And that was the only one where I was like, it's angering me. There's something that needs to get out, and it's just, that's it. You know, it's just really brutal kind of, like the strapping young lad is the best way that I could describe it. Just, you know, that type of, you know, angry, fast-paced type of stuff.
Yeah.
There's one more song on the self-titled, which is just me going nuts in the pandemic, which is called Happy. And that was really just, you know, I don't know if I'd call it like my, you know, COVID project or whatever, but I just started writing at some point, and then just, it is really important for me and like my, you know, my art to just kind of follow whatever the impulse is. And for that song, there's several impulses, and it just kind of goes from here and then to here and then to here. It's like Motorhead, and then there's Bugs Bunny, and then there's death metal, and then there's like, you know, just fucking craziness. I'm talking about Starbucks Frappuccinos. Like, there's a whole bunch of stuff. But I mean, I don't know if I'd necessarily say that it's like, that it affected me that much. You know, I think that the problems that I had at hand, especially mentally, were more of like, just stuff I needed to work through over time, and I was working through. And even with the pandemic, it's like, you know, at some point it'll pass. Everything passes, you know, but the things that aren't going to pass, the things that are stuck in my mind, the things that are stuck in my mind that I need to work through, those are the things that I wanted to write about.
Do you felt like you were able to work through them after those songs were out and released?
To some degree, yeah.
Yeah.
I think there's a good amount of it that's, I guess I like to think about it as, you know, I've revisited some topics over and over again, but there's points in time, and especially I think with the record, because it's a cohesive thing, that once it's out on paper and it's out and you've dealt with it, because, you know, when you make a record, it's like, you know, I'm not going to release this for another couple months, whatever, and you have time to sit with it and absorb it. And for me, I reflect a lot. And, you know, some of the meanings of the songs changed to me. Like, they've kind of like, you know, I understand what I wrote and why I wrote it, but, you know, maybe now, you know, like, this song holds a different meaning to me. And that meaning is how I worked through that process. Or,
your own perspective on your art changed as you. Wow. That's pretty cool.
I mean, that's what it is, right? It's just art,
able to
you know.
Take that with you and, you know, hold it close to your heart, like that's your art and kind of a happy place. Almost.
Yeah, I don't like to hang on to heavy stuff. You know, I've gone through enough in my life where I don't think that, you know, to some degree, it's smart to reflect on things and to act on them. But I feel like once you've done the acting, you know, once you've done the action, rather, I should say, and you've worked your way through it, like it becomes at some point detrimental to, you know, revisit that. Like, if I were to revisit the stuff that I was going through 10 years ago, like, I don't feel the same. And to harbor that, you know, that either it's resentment or angst or whatever, I feel like that keeps you in that same spot. And for me, all I want to do is grow and evolve, right? So there's I mean,
I like that, yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I don't it's been honestly the biggest thing for my mental health is, you know, and with music, it's a really easy way for me to be like, you know, to write it just to get it out, because there's more there's more to it than just the lyrics. It's the whole song.
Absolutely.
You know, and in every song that I do, but like there's the whole process of the mixing and the critical listening and the reflecting constantly that it makes me do, that I really enjoy. And like, I think about some of the music that I've made, like that song Happy, or even this record, As the Universe Dies. I'm like, I look back, I'm like, what the fuck was I doing? Like, I just, you know, sat down and decided to make it, you know, and it's hard for me to get back to that spot, because I just continually try to grow and learn and change.
That's actually that sounds like a skill.
It's definitely something I've learned over time, for sure.
Exactly. I mean, that's it's pretty inspiring to hear something like that. I feel a lot of us easily get stuck in the past and things that people have said and just confused about our purpose, our life. But it's like, if we could just see it for what the moment is right now and just keep looking forward and be able to write these thoughts down, and then when it's released, it's like a feeling release too. So it's like getting it off your chest is putting it out there to the world. Right. And so like, and you know, that's one of the beautiful things about music, is that it has that power to do that.
100%. 100%.
Wild. It's wild. Well, you brought up Evolve as you were talking, and that's the name of the track that we are breaking down today. You said a little bit about it, but let's dig just a tiny bit deeper, not too much, because we're going to break down the lyrics. But why did you choose this song? What does it mean to you?
Well, I mean, like I was saying, I grow and change and evolve. Don't harbor the things that, keep you locked in that loop, locked in that spot. Like, there's some point, like, I feel like we all need to break, like, the cycles and the loops that we live in. I'm actually going to bring up at some point, just because I see that you have a Death Bat in the back and a Sinister Gates guitar.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. So, those are my boys. And I went to go listen to the new record with them a couple years ago. And, with them.
Wow. Okay.
I went to go listen with them. And one of the things that we had talked about was the song Mattel. And that song, there's a lot of that, like the same kind of concepts of like, we all feed into this loop. We all kind of get into these cycles. And, I was writing this song at the time, and it was just something that, like, I think hearing them talk about it and, reading, my own lyrics and trying to figure out where I was, like, and just mentally being at the point where, like, I feel like I need to make some kind of change and grow. Like, that idea of breaking through the cycles that we find ourselves in. It's, to a lot of people, it's comfortable to live in that loop. It's comfortable to live in that cycle, but it's not healthy. And I think for all of us, we need to, step out of our comfort zone and challenge ourselves to make that growth. Otherwise,
it's important for us to seize the day, right?
Yeah, exactly, brother, exactly.
All right. This is Evolve by Monolith Zero. I have not heard this track yet, so I am ready to check it out. Let's break this track down. Okay, I'm stopping already, dude. Okay, I feel like we have enough to break down already.
Sure.
What an intro.
Fuck yeah, man.
It's a 1 minute and 11-second intro. 111. That's a good sign, I think. I don't know. Those angel numbers they're a good sign. So this is a good. That means this is going to be a fucking awesome track. You know what's funny? Yeah. I was when I was listening to it. the word that came to mind was also evolve, because I felt like it starts off one way and then just like it layers on top of layers on top of layers on top of layers. Like I feel like the song itself, in the way that it's structured, is evolving.
Yeah,
that's pretty.
I can't wait for you to hear the rest.
And then the harmonizing guitars came in, and I'm like, all right, where's Zachy and where's Sin?
Yeah, we were just bonding about that, man.
Where's that's
it. That's it, brother.
That was cool, and it feels very cinematic too.
Yes,
because there's like dun, 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 like there. I heard something like that in there, and I'm just like, because I'm a huge movie fan. I love listening to like scores from like horror movies and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so like when I can hear little things, I can appreciate them.
Yeah, they're very. I write very. The way that I've come to describe it, everything it's kind of like scenes, where like I like to world build, because to me I'm not a very like I can't just listen to something and be like, oh, this makes me feel like, super sad, or super happy, or whatever. So for me, when I build my stuff, I try and build it and build it and build it, and there's all these little layers and stuff that goes into it, because those are the things that draw me in as a listener.
Mm-hmm.
So like that whole intro where there's like this big build up, it kind of bleeds in from the last track, where you end up with that one. The context matters to me like a huge deal. So this being the final song on the record, it's like you've come to this point, and it's kind of like,
you've made it through.
Right. Yeah, it's kind of like this little like showdown with yourself, like the last boss is you. So
I saw Link fighting somebody. It took me to like a Final Fantasy world. That was cool. Anyway,
yeah.
Let's keep rocking out. Well, I'm a lyric guy, and I like when there's a certain amount. I'm like, okay, I can't hold this in, because I'm gonna lose my thought. Because like when I'm listening, I'm like, okay, this is like my brain is going a million miles an hour when I'm listening to shit like this. I'm like, oh, he said that, I can relate it to that. Anyway, shit. Hey, the very end is coming around the bend, and all the thoughts you've locked inside your head will come true. We don't think very positive things to ourselves sometimes.
No.
We don't say nice things to ourselves sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And the very end is coming around the bend, and all the thoughts you've locked inside your head will come true. It's almost like the bad things we say about ourselves. It's like saying, yes, that is going to happen to you.
Mm-hmm.
You are that person. This is going to happen to you.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like the very end is coming, and it's almost like round the bend just makes it feel like it's fast, it's curvy, like it almost seems like danger up ahead.
Right. Yeah.
There's danger up ahead. If you keep in this mindset, if you keep kind of poisoning yourself, you're going to say it so often, you're going to believe it,
mm-hmm.
and it's going to come true. So it's like the more you say these things to yourself, the more true they become. and the end is coming. Like, we can be our own end. It's like,
Right.
if we can drive ourselves crazy enough, where it drives us wild and we start to believe it.
Right, man. I think so this particular section, when I was younger, I used to deal with a lot of intrusive thoughts, and I hated myself for it because I was like, paranoid about all of these things becoming true, right? We talked a little bit before about not holding on to things, about growing from them and evolving. And for me, that's been something that it's just a constant struggle to learn that part of myself, to learn that just because you have thoughts doesn't mean that those things are true. That there's, I think that people are defined not by their thoughts, because no one else knows your thoughts unless you say them. But people are defined by their intentions. People are defined by the actions that they take. And I learned this over time, and I realized that just because I have these thoughts and just because I am paranoid about certain things doesn't mean these things are going to come true.
Right.
But when you're in a bad spot, you're having a bad mental health day, or it's just eating at you, that's the type of thing that comes up. It's like, they are going to come true. This is the worst case scenario. I am a terrible person. But just to add on a little bit further, so the very first song, well, I guess the second song on this album is called Forever. And that song, and this album is not a concept album. I did this by accident, but this is very, it's all about my life. But the theme of that one is end is coming, right? End is coming, end is coming. We are at the end of all we know. And you can look at that and I guess it's like a double entendre, or like those Kendrick Lamar things where you could say it's like, we are at the end of all we know. It means that like we're at the end of the world, or we are at the end of all we know. And however you choose to perceive that, it's the same way here, right? Where it's like the very end is coming around the bend. So either the world's going to end, the entire, everything's going to, blow up in my face, or am I going to find who I am at the end of this, and I find that my person, or who I am, is terrible, right? So that's, in a nutshell, like what that section is about. It's a very niche part of my life, very specific thing for me, but that is essentially what it comes down to.
I have a very random question for you.
Of course.
I'm going to ask the question, but there's a reason why I'm asking it.
Sure.
When it comes to driving, do you have any bad experiences with that? Like being in a car accident, going super fast. Like, is there any connection there?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. And
I have wanted to drive my car off the road before, but that's not
okay.
Not an accident or anything.
Right. Okay. So that's interesting you said that. So I see there's like a road behind you. There's like a screen of like a road and there's cars going by.
Oh yeah, this is it's a live stream of trains.
There's something with you in travel and transportation, because it's behind you, and when I read the line, the very end is coming around the bend, my mind went to driving a car into like a wall. Not driving off a cliff, but going into a wall. And then when the next line is this, it's new, this model comes in red, white, and blue. I think maybe that's a political thing, but when you said the model, it almost seems like it's a car where you can buy it in multiple colors.
Yes. Well, that's intentional.
Yeah.
Because that thing too, I mean, just to piggyback off of what I was saying, right, where you can find, whatever it is that you think is coming around the bend, it's new. You could take it as politically, that the model comes in red, white, and blue, because it's, again, like, however you want to take that, you know, you can take that whole section beforehand. You can apply it to current events. You can apply it to whatever.
Right.
And you could say, well, the model comes with red, white, and blue, right? Patriots. And everything that's going on in like Minnesota and all of the stuff that's happened over the past couple of years.
Yeah.
But my intention was more, I mean, that's a little tongue in cheek, but like the intention is more to say like, you know, we, how to describe it? It's like, I guess it's more the only thing that's changed is at least not a you, right? Where, you know, you've got that, the whole idea in my head was to have this kind of like little, like, one of those terrible car salesman ads where they're like, you know, from like the 70s and the 80s, and they're just like these stupidly bombast, or like the 90s, you know, they've got the music in the background, and there's like, you know, come on down to Dave's Auto Shop and whatever.
Yeah.
We've got this new one. And comes, and like that's like the idea behind it.
Yeah.
But it's
so
really just like it's a metaphor.
Yeah, the model, the lease.
The model being the problem that you have.
Right.
You know, it's new, right? This whole new thing, and it's like the only thing that's changed about it is it's yours. You know, everyone's got their own problems. Everyone's got their own thing, but this thing, it's new and it's yours. So, nothing's changed about it. Everyone deals with their own shit, you know?
Yeah, it's funny because where I took it was somebody going through something really rough and feeling like there was only one answer. And there's a lot of people find driving very therapeutic, and I am one of them. I love getting in a car, rolling the windows down, and blasting my music. You know, and when there's glitches kind of in the system, like you hear early on in the song, and you know, you're talking about round the bend and inside your head, I mean, those thoughts will get you. You know, the model comes in red, white, and blue. It's leased to you. This is you now. Like, be off with it. Do what you will with what you know now. I'm gonna keep this this car thing in mind as we read the next stuff.
Go ahead, brother.
We're everything. We're all a god. Yet it all means nothing. We're all a god.
We are. We are the whole concept, right, of Monolith Zero, right? We're all the at the end of the day, like, I'm not a religious person. I don't even know if I consider myself very spiritual now at this point either. But one of the things that I latched onto when I was going through a rough patch in my life was that ultimately I can bring the change I want to see. I can be that change, you know, and I can have that inflated sense of self-importance. But at the end of the day, it's a feeling, right? It's, I don't know, nihilism? I don't know if that's what it is, but there's you know, we're everything, we're all in God, we feel important, but at the end of the day, like, what the fuck does that mean? You know, like, unless you're doing something about it, you know, you're trying to make the changes in your life. If you're just thinking about, like, oh, I'm a god, I feel great, this is amazing, I'm like the greatest, you know, what, like, to inflate yourself, feel better.
It's kind of like a narcissistic point of view.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that a lot of people, when they're low, and I say this from my own point of view, you know, when I felt low, that was one of the things that I could grab onto, was that, like, I'm actually a god in this. And it's very easy to think of yourself as like almost like a Christ-like figure, or that you are, you know, meant to be here.
Than thou.
Right. And there's like that, but that, because people look for meaning, people look for purpose, people look for that stuff. And, you know, all of it is well-meaning, but you can stray too far with it. You can stray too far from the path and, you know, get down a path, like, you know, of just the ego. Yeah. But you have to learn the ego death part.
I was just going to say, you got to kill that ego death there.
Exactly.
Get rid of that.
So that's yet it all means nothing.
yet it all means nothing. And we're all a god, and like a god is, you know, something bigger than us. And if you have a mindset of like a narcissistic mindset, like you are like legitimately see yourself that way.
Mm-hmm.
And so you know, to them they are the most powerful.
Right. I'm gonna just go ahead on a little tangent and say, you know, like these verses, right? You know, especially this first one. I guess more so than the second one. Second one's more of an understanding, but this one in particular, going back to the first few lines where, you know, all the thoughts inside your head will come true. These are the worst parts of me. These are the parts that I try, you know, to bury or to have moved past in my past. And I don't whatever it means to other people, I'll do it. Like, that's entirely you. Art can be subjected or to be interpreted in as many ways as there are people. But there all of this to me, like, and I bring this up because the reason why I picked Evolve really was it's an all-encompassing part of my life. It's an all-encompassing track of where I was, where I am, where I want to be. You know, have I gotten there? I don't know. But at the same time, like, I've evolved past these things, which we'll get to. But, like, these are me showing that part of myself, saying those things, being vulnerable about the parts that, you know, parts of me that really ate at me for a really long time. And, yeah. So this song, it's a long song. It's a lot of words, but it is very important to me, in a number of ways, man. And this particular verse, like, I just, you know, I wrote down, but, you know, starting writing words, whatever, but it's the start to sit there and think about what it is that I want to say. Think about, like, you know, this thing. It's like, you know, we're everything. We're all a god. Yet it all means nothing. Those three simple lines, those are years of my life that I worked through, and I learned, you know, how to grow past, and I saw the other end of the spectrum and saw where I could be going. And then, you know, with my intentions and, you know, my actions, getting myself out of that spot and, you know, growing into becoming the person that I am now.
So what got you out of that spot? Like, where was that switch where you were like, I'm headed down a wrong path and I need to view this stuff differently? Where, like, what sparked that? Because I feel like that's a very hard thing to do. And usually we don't make that kind of decision or choice until we have to, until we feel like it's getting a little out of control. I mean, at least for me, that's what happened. I was at rock bottom. I was ready to head out. Yeah, I tried to head out. But after that, you know, I saw life completely different.
Yeah,
it forced me to change.
Yeah, I don't know if there was a point where I decided that wasn't gonna be me. But I guess the thing that I wanted, right, is the out of my life. I think that we all get really caught up in happiness, and we get caught up in, you know, trying to feel better. But one thing, I mean, that stuck with me for a while was, you know, the concept of, like, you can't love another person until you love yourself. And that whole deal, right, where it's like, for me and everything that I've wanted to get to, everything that I've, you know, where I want to be in my life, the person that I want to become, you have to be that person. It's not just, for me, it's not just one choice. It's the choice and then another choice and then another choice. It's the constant decision to, wake up and try and be better. Not for anyone else, but for yourself. And it's a long process. It's very much easier said than done.
Yeah.
But it's one that I really try to embody. I had my bad days. I had my good days. There were a lot of, middle of the road weird days. But it was something that, I didn't like the way that I felt. And I knew how I wanted to feel. And whatever it took to get to that point, I still don't even know if I'm there, right? But whatever it's going to take for me to learn and grow and evolve to get to that point where I do feel, it's worth it. But I have to do that work.
Yeah. Well, it seems you're very self-aware, of yourself and your emotions and your feelings. And like we were saying earlier, I mean, that's a skill, man. Because it does not come easy to a lot of people. It's something you need to work at. You have to really want to work at it for it. You have to really want it to work. Work at it like that.
100%.
And it becomes, at least to me, very obvious when someone has kind of been through that state. Because I've been through that state, So you can kind of catch little things that people
I can pick up on it, just the way that you perceive things, the way you say something, like it's having that awareness and having to live through the stuff and being able to look back at it and take just a step back and just think about it objectively, or think about how you felt, how it made you feel, how this thing, all of that is something that you learn. And it's when you meet someone that has also been through it, it's just like an unspoken thing of the maturity and the growth and just the evolution of that person,
Yeah. I've created some very, very serious bonds doing this podcast. You start to talk emotions with someone, you get vulnerable with someone, and it's like instant friends.
Yeah. Brother, we were friends from the moment I saw your Sinister Gates guitar there.
Sick. All right, because we're about to fight a war we'll never fucking win. Exist and pay the price to live. I was just talking to my wife recently about, I forget what we were talking about, but we were just saying every single thing has a price on it. Every single thing. And the more you work, the more money you make, the more they want to take from you. The harder you work, the more they want from you. And it's like you have no control over it. Like you literally have no control over it, because we're about to fight a war we'll never fucking win. I mean, that's how I feel about finances. It's like, okay, fine, fuck it. 20% of my check goes to this. This part goes to this. And then when I finally get it, I got to pay rent. And Brooklyn rent isn't cheap.
No, it's not. It is not.
And then they charge you a fortune for electricity, and it's just like and then you get tax. I mean, everything, dude. Like right when I heard this phrase, I'm just like, it took me to my place in frustration from the other day when I was having a conversation about this. It's fucking wild,
dude. Yeah,
I get very passionate about this.
No, yeah, but that's it, man. It's like, no matter what you do, it's like, it's for the mental health perspective. It's like, I try and I try and I try, and I'm just never going to get any better. I just exist, and this is like, I just have to be saddled with this pain of being myself.
It is a war.
It's absolutely a war.
It's a mental war.
A war of attrition. But on your note of the financial thing, so forever, it's the same type of deal where it's like, I guess that there's a line in that where it's like, what did I say? I have my lyrics up over here too, as I'm reading as well.
Do you want me to go back?
Find it. No, I can.
Oh, okay.
No, it's cool. Forever is here somewhere. Okay, here it is. So the verse for that one is, all we want in life is to be certain that we're free, but every freedom in this life must be bought by you and me. It's very Dr. Seuss, but it's true. that concept comes up again here too, where it's like, however you want to take it. If you want to take it from that, fuck corporations perspective,
Yeah.
Fuck the rich, or if you want to take that from a perspective of like, you're battling this mental war, both of them work because
Yeah.
it's what it's all about, man.
It could be an addiction, it can be career, it could be
Mm-hmm.
relationships. I mean, anybody can take it. And then so it's interesting, like whenever I hear a song, the lyrics are always the most important thing to me because if I can't relate to it, I don't really like to listen to it.
Yeah.
And so now like I always like what's it called? Like attach an emotion to songs from what I thought when I first heard it. And I think one of the standout things is my frustration on finances in corporate America.
Mm-hmm.
And then,
Dude,
and
fuck
especially
corporations.
because, and especially because you said red, white, and blue earlier.
Yeah.
So I'm just like,
Well, I love those. I love
all
those little
this.
like double entendre things. Those
Yeah.
like because to me, I'm like I also like I like to read things, and because I find emotions in the lyrics, I find emotions in the atmosphere and everything that's created. And like I mentioned before, I'm not a very emotive person, but I do find myself feeling emotional about songs, about art, about all that stuff. And for me, when I write, I like to leave it a little open ended,
Yeah.
a little open to interpretation, because I know what it means for me. But my life, it's my own. But to everyone else that is going through something, like you might not relate to this specific thing that
Right.
in my head, I'm thinking about. But there are other things that, like, if I, I say it a certain way, if I do whatever, that it might open, like the light bulb might come on in your head. Be like, oh, yeah, that's what I'm thinking about, or whatever. And it's, I love that about art. Art is the human filter, and I feel like my favorite artists do that as well.
Yeah.
And
mine too.
it's something that like I've tried to instill into my writing, because you read like the Genius sites or like whatever, AZ, I don't know, the other ones that have like people
Oh,
can
AZ
write their
lyrics?
interpretation. Yeah, people can like write their interpretations of the lyrics.
Yeah.
And like I always find so interesting how people can take things such different ways,
Yeah.
because it's like, oh, well, this artist thinks of this, but then this guy takes it this way, this person takes it this way, and this person takes
Yeah.
it this way. But it's all
Exactly.
valid, it's
Yeah.
all like, it's all real.
Yeah.
And I try to do that in my writing too.
It's I forget who I was having this conversation with, but just thinking about putting a visual to this is pretty wild. So we'll take Avenged Sevenfold for example. A Little Piece of Heaven.
Mm.
When I was in high school, I used to shoot a lot of music videos just for fun with family and friends and stuff. And when the first time I heard A Little Piece of Heaven, there was the dun dun dun. It just kind of reminded me of like, and I'm saying this in the most respectful way because I fucking love it, but it kind of reminds me of like a clown or like a dark circus.
Mm-hmm.
And so I made a clown. I made a music video. My sister was the female clown, and one of our friends was the male clown. And they like wake up in bed in the morning, and they're in all their clown suits and stuff, and they walk out to the dun dun dun. He comes walking out with his arms like this, just like balloons in the hallway. And he starts cooking up eyes for breakfast, and then he like shoves it in her face. Eat it. And it's like, that just takes me back to like a very fun time in my life. A very fun life. A very, very, very fun time in my life. And so when I heard that song live for the first time, I forget the tour name, but Atreyu was there, Bullet for My Valentine was there. I think Bless the Fall was there even.
That's a name I haven't heard in a long time.
Yeah, crazy fucking lineup. It was brutal. But anyway, I see it on the poster because I took it from Hot Topic. Because Hot Topic used to be cool like that. They would have promo flyers for shows coming up. Anyway.
Yeah.
So when I saw it live, and the first time I saw it live, like confetti started coming down at the end because it was their final song they played.
Mm,
Confetti started coming down, and it took me back, especially the confetti. It took me back to like a festival, crazy circus kind of deal, and that's where my mind took me.
mm,
It just took me to that time with my family, a better time kind of in my mental state, and it just like it transported me there. But
mm.
if you really stop to think about it, every single like nobody in the crowd will have that same feeling as I do.
Right.
They're going to have their own feeling. And
Mm,
so when you talk about energy and you get all these people together and they feel the vibrations of a song and it sparks something in them. Just seeing like a visual to it of just like all these orbs in the air, all these fucking crazy things. It's like it's when you really kind of start to be a hippie about it, it's like I don't know, it just seems like an amazing life experience to
because it
be
is, brother. It
to
is.
be
It's
in that
listen.
mindset.
I'm a big a hippie as anybody you'll meet. That's it, man. Like it's there's something about like the things we experience in our lives, and like everything is unique. My life is way different than yours. Even if we live like say we were next door neighbors, right? What the life that you're living in your house, everything that you're doing, maybe we went to the same school, whatever. Everything we experience is different.
Yeah.
And that, like I said a little bit earlier, art is the human filter. Art is the human filter, not only just for artists, but also for the people that are experiencing that art.
Yeah.
And,
Absolutely.
being able to see yourself in that, being able to relate, parts of your life to that art. I mean, that's what makes it stick with us. That's what makes it powerful. That's what makes it like just this thing that constantly moves us forward. I think that it gives us a point too, to think back on the good memories that we have. It gives us a point, to be hopeful about our future, all of that stuff. And I think it's like art to me is just it's so important. And honestly, it's really like the most human thing that you can do is create art. Because
It's coming
when you
from the
create
soul.
art, it's just your experience, brother. It's
Yeah.
just what we might have the same subject as somebody else, but it's going to come out.
It's euphoric in
Your
a
way.
way too.
Yeah.
Like letting that out, letting that just emotion out.
Yeah.
I remember when that album came out, my grandmother had just passed, and it was wild because Avenged Sevenfold was my favorite band, so I was stoked on the album. But my grandma had just passed, and she was my favorite person in the world.
No.
And that album, that self-titled album, was my savior at that time. Like whenever I started to get sad, I would throw Scream on and just start screaming.
Dude.
I would listen to Dear God and think about my grandmother and, or Dear God. Yeah. Like, I'm just like, that album meant so much to me when it came out. And that's what I think of. Like, if I ever hear him play like Dear God live, which I don't know if I ever had heard that. Maybe I have.
I think they played it in, I want to say they played it in Indonesia a couple years ago because it was huge. It's huge out there. So I think that they included it. I know that Gunslinger.
Gunslinger is another one too.
They've been playing that one. That's huge in Latin America. So they just did their tour. Actually, just finished up the other day. They were in Argentina, but that was a staple of the set list.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, it's just like if I were to hear that track live, I would probably get emotional. I'd probably start crying right there at the show. But no one else is going to feel what I feel.
Exactly.
All the thousands of people are just putting out different energies all in the same room.
Mm-hmm.
And that's that's where the chills come at shows. Is you just feel the energy, man.
Mm-hmm. It's the most important thing, man. It's the most important thing.
My favorite bands mean the world to me. They really do. Anyway, that's all we know because we're moving in cycles. Oh, evolve. Can we break through the cycle? It's death or survival. So the cycle.
Mm-hmm.
I see a wheel spinning. Wheels moving. Steering wheel going nuts. When I read the word cycle there, it kind of just brought me back to the car and driving perspective, because I just see a moving cycles, like moving just super fast, just going full force. I'm either going to survive this crash, or it's going to kill me. That's what I get from that.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's that same thing, like the dedicated loops and stuff that we find ourselves in.
Yeah. A cycle of bad thoughts.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think that, for us to grow, we have to challenge ourselves to do that, because if you just live the same thing all the time, and you don't let yourself experience new things, new thoughts, new emotions, whatever the case might be, you've already died. There's nothing else for you to live for. But, in my perspective, it's like, there's so much to live for. There's so much to experience, to see, to learn. And if you don't let yourself do that, like, you've effectively just, why? You've lived a life you already lived. And to me, it's like, it's so crucial to allow yourself to think from a different point of view. Allow yourself to experience something different. Allow yourself to just follow a new brain path. Follow a new thought pattern. It's okay.
With the most respect to you and what you just said, there's a little bit of a pushback I want to do on that.
Sure, go ahead.
With the most respect.
Yeah.
Thinking different brain patterns is sometimes out of your control. And what I mean by that is I'm bipolar.
Mm-hmm.
And my mood swings, man, are fucking wild. I can go from like 0 to 100, like that. And just there's a lot of different things. Like, I'm on medication and all this stuff now, so like I'm doing a little bit better, but man, there's times when I just fucking go crazy and lose it for just no reason.
Mm-hmm.
And it drives me wild that not only do I know that this is something I kind of have to live with, but no matter how much like meditation I do, or just like finding myself, I know I'm going to end up right back there at some point because of my disease, I call it.
Right.
And it even affects my happiness too, because even like when I'm going through like something really awesome, I can't help but think sometimes, well, this happiness is just temporary.
Mm-hmm.
And so, sometimes, and especially people who go through serious, because there's different levels of bipolar and there's different levels of depression.
Yeah. And
dude, they're all a disease. And sometimes it's, I know you said this earlier, but, and so some of this stuff is a lot easier said than done.
Mm-hmm.
But some people, sometimes can't.
Yeah. I know. And it's like I said before, it's so much easier said than done. This is, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 lines that, have encompassed for me, like my journey from the day shit happened to me to now, right? And it's not easy. It's not easy. And to some people, it isn't a solution. But as we were going over a little bit earlier, it's my experiences with it, and for me, it's been through like, this constant, trying to change my perspective, trying to understand other people's perspectives, trying to understand that, that whole concept of Monolith Zero, where it's like there's me, but there's also all of this. And
yeah,
for me, in my experience, I turned a blind eye to everything else in my life that was great, and all I could focus on was what made me feel awful, and that was the loop that I needed to break. That was the
easy,
thing
because that's an easier place to stay.
Yes, it's yeah. And like I said, like the journey to me is like, it's where I want to be. I don't even know. I don't know if I'm there yet. I had a really awful mental health day the other day, but like
The cycle.
yeah, and it's hard to break out of it. But if I'm gonna try and be my best self, and I'm gonna try to make the most out of my life and experience those new things and experience stuff that really whether it's the happiness, whether it's like the thing that just change your neural pathways, experience new life-changing things, life-altering things. If in an ideal world, in an ideal like scenario, this is the creed that I try to live by. Even on my hardest days, even on my best days, like I just try to keep going. It's not even just it's not a solution. It's more of like a mantra. It poses a question, but however you can, in your best state, in your best frame of mind, how are you going to tackle this? And you might be, you might have, struggle with diseases like yourself. And I've met many people in my life that have, suffer through something. I'm very fortunate to not feel like that.
Yeah.
I think at some point I had I think I had undiagnosed OCD something. But was always too scared to go to a psychologist, so I had never known. But that's what I was talking about earlier with intention, and talking about the actions and stuff that you take. My thoughts might rule my world, but they aren't my reality. That this is my intention. My intention is to break through the cycle that's holding me back. And whether or not I can or I do, I'm trying. And that's ultimately what to me this is about.
I feel like this song is very heavy in a lot of different ways.
It's very
there's a lot of things that you can dissect in this one and go different routes on. These are the fun breakdowns, and you just be like, and it can go this way, and it can go this way. And by the end of it, it's just like, this song just means everything.
Everything to everyone.
Yeah. All right, well, let's keep rocking out. We still got some song to hear.
Yeah.
All right, I feel that's a good place to stop it.
Mm.
If you were to have told me that Shadows was a feature on this track, I would have believed you. in that part over there, uh, like that's totally a way that he would project his voice, and even the tone of it too.
Yeah,
You
I
should
do.
have
I take a
told me-
lot. I take a lot from Shads.
Yeah. If you would have told me he was a feature on it, I'd be like, that's sick, dude.
I did ask him at one point. I asked him to sing on my song Element.
Okay.
And he was totally into it. He was like, dude, we're still under Warner Brothers. It's going to cost you like $30,000. And I was like, I'll do it myself.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, no,
I Kickstarter.
Yeah, dude. Believe me, I would.
One track.
I would. But
that's cool though. No, I definitely hear, all throughout it, like the cinematic pieces kind of can take me to like the Wicked End or like Strength of the World or something like that. And, the way that you were creepingly saying, already gone. Where does that take? There's a song that kind of takes me to. Can't place the name on it right now. Yeah, I don't know. I got to think about it. I'll hit you up when I remember it. But yeah, I could definitely hear the inspiration there. We're everything. I'm everywhere. It all means nothing. No, it isn't fair that death is the only part of life that keeps you living. That one was good. But that hate that you've been feeling is a product of the fact that you're already dead.
That you're afraid.
Why did I think it says already dead? Where did I even see that from?
I don't know.
It's not even on the screen right here. What the hell? That was weird that I went there. I want to say that part again. But that hate that you've been feeling is a product of the fact that you're afraid. Why did my mind go there?
I don't know. It's a good question.
The fact
we
that
could dissect that if you want.
I think that's kind of just where my mind went, where like we're everything, I'm nowhere. It all means nothing. No, it isn't fair that death is the only part of life that keeps you living. It just sounds like you're already dead. I think I added a lyric to what I was thinking in my head there. That was kind of wild. That was the first.
That was
pretty wild for me on this podcast. That hasn't happened before. That was wild.
Well, you know what, man? It kind of goes back to the whole like art means a whole lot of things to everyone. That's where you needed to take it, I guess.
And I said it so naturally too. I'm like, I'm proud of the fact that you're already dead. Like I just said it as if I knew the lyric, but that wasn't even it. It's not even on there. All right, whatever. But yeah, no. So yeah, that's just where this takes me, and I feel like this kind of is self-explanatory, going off of some of the things that you already said. Kind of just needing to get out of this space where you don't think you're enough, or live life right now, and don't leave the past behind you, and all that kind of stuff. That's what I get from this right here.
Yeah, I mean, I think going into the next part, as you did play through it, that line where it says, "But that hate that you've been feeling is a product of the fact that you're afraid," and it comes from a place of like hating yourself, that self-loathing, all of that.
Yeah.
And for me, like me being the you in this scenario, I was afraid of a lot of things. I still am. But that part of me that I realized that like I need to be vulnerable, man.
Yeah.
I need that. Because when you feel it's like the only like the death is the only part of life that keeps you living. Like I said a little bit earlier, there's like exist and pay the price to live. What are we living for if just to die? And this is the same thing. It's like, no, it isn't fair that the death is the only part of life that keeps you living. But the reason why you hate yourself is because you're afraid. And it's like, what am I afraid of? I don't know. Yeah. But that's what we get into in the next part, is that
And that's one of the beauty of these
vulnerability.
podcasts, is because these lyrics mean more than just a song. You know, we get to learn who the artist is and how their brain works by
Mm,
dissecting their lines here. It's crazy, because that's all we know. Because we're moving in cycles. We're moving in cycles. Um, autumn wind blows. I'm sad. I'd wait forever if the sun would stay. I'm already gone. Fall's already gone. Leaves, the afterglow, dead already. I don't think we went over that part, did we?
no, we haven't gone over this part.
Okay. Autumn, wind blows. I did it again. So I'm sad. I'd wait forever. Reminds me of an Atreyu song. If the sun would stay. I'm already gone. Reminds me of a Day to Remember song. Fall's already come. Leaves, the afterglow, dead already. No. What does this part mean to you here? Autumn, I just see things falling, you know, and just like sometimes there's wind blowing, you can't catch it all, you can't hold on to it all. You know, sometimes sometimes it just flies away, and you have to accept that.
Yeah, I think so now we're getting to this point where it's like the thing that I'm upset about, right, is the being alone with myself. So thinking of that autumn wind blows thing, it's like, you know, thinking about like walking through like a forest, or you're thinking about just sitting. I used to have a spot at my school that I used to sit in and just think about stuff, or just think, like, listen to music or whatever. And you know, fall semester of college, leaves are falling, all that stuff. So to me, I think about loneliness. I think of, like, you know, the autumn and kind of just walking through, you know, fall leaves by yourself, whether it's just, you know, being there and all that stuff. But to me, it's a very kind of like wistful time, and it's a time where I feel like I've got, you know, this space and capacity to reflect. So this one being here, it's autumn wind blows. So I'm sad, like just straight up, I'm sad. You know, and there's no, I don't know, what am I
It's
sad
just
about?
straight out coming and saying it.
Exactly.
And that's that vulnerability.
Vulnerability.
You're talking about.
Exactly.
Dude, I can't tell you how many episodes that I've recorded that I did not want to put out because of how vulnerable I got. You know, I often dig really deep into these. I mean, I've already told you about my bipolar, my suicide attempt, and I'm just like, damn, I'm really getting into it. But I've realized, though, the more that I talk about it, the better I feel about it.
Exactly.
You know, it's getting over the fear of the vulnerability. And how are people going to view you now? Are they going to see you a certain way now because you have this or you have that? And it's a scary thing. It's a very scary and terrifying thing. But I have found strength in talking about it. And I think being open about it makes other people feel open to talk about their vulnerabilities as well, because you kind of get each other on that, like, vulnerable on that level.
Same wavelength fully. And I mean, you know, for me, that's, you know, in my growth in my life, you know, I've found that just, I mean, I'm a very honest person. I'm always like trying, I'm not gonna lie to your face or anything like that, but for me, there's parts of, like, you know, emotions and feeling the way that you feel. You know, there's the I'm fine, I'm hanging in, whatever. But to people that really love you and that care about you and that really want, you know, I learned a couple of years ago what true friends are. I learned what, you know, real support is, real love.
The last couple of years, I've recently learned. Dude, seriously, the last couple of years, I've went through some really bad relationships, friendships, family, whatever, and just like, fuck, damn,
dude, same, and it's like I realized it's like I don't need to hide that from people that actually do genuinely fucking care about me. And
there's more people that care about us than we think too.
Yeah,
so
and it's not.
People.
It's never a burden to someone that really devalues you. It's never a burden, because I know, like, from how I try to be friends, with my friends or love my family or whatever. Like, it doesn't matter. The person on the other end is what matters to me. My friend, this person that I care about, this member of my family, whatever. You are the important thing here. How you feel is important. How I view you or how you think that I view you does not fucking matter for a second. I'd rather you be honest with me. Tell me how you feel, so that way we can work through this thing together. And
I had a very kind of scary experience I think it was just last year. A friend of mine who lives in a different city told me he was having really dark thoughts and bad thoughts, and I knew exactly what he meant by that. He didn't really have to say much more. That night I booked a flight for the next morning to go and be with him. So I'm like, dude, we can talk on the phone as long as you want, but I think that human interaction and showing up, like, let me prove to you how much you mean to people.
Yes.
Literally got on a plane the next morning and flew out. And
you're a good man for that. Really. That's real love. That's real. That's the type of shit that I think that, when you're in a dark place, you feel like you're not deserving of it. Yeah. You feel like you don't matter, or that you don't, no one's going to care that much. But when you harbor all of these things inside and you don't let people in, they can never show you. They can never show you how much they care. They can never express it if you never express yourself. And so going back to this, it's just like straight up, I'm sad, and there's plenty of moments in my life where I just like, I wish I just said, no, I'm sad. I wish I could have just talked about it and not held on to it and just developed, all of those extra thoughts.
Like when people ask you, hey, how's it going? And you say, good, how are you? And they respond, good. And then that's the end of the end of it.
Like,
you know what I mean? Like we never.
You're like, actually, I'm really fucking sad.
Yeah.
But yeah, no.
But like, you don't want to tell the bodega guy that, because it's just like then you get wrapped up in conversation and it becomes the whole thing. And
he's like, "Are you okay?" Like next time, "Are you all right?"
Every time, "Hey, how are you doing today?" Like you. Let me give you a free coffee. But
you know what? Even at that point, if that guy is like checking up on you and offering you a free coffee, making sure you're okay, that's real love too.
Absolutely. The little things in life are major. That little coffee and asking someone how they're doing, the weight that carries.
It's so much weight, tremendous amount of weight.
Yeah. I'm already gone. Fall's already come. Leaves, the afterglow, dead already. No. And I think that's just kind of all part of what you were just saying, right?
Yeah. And then the last line is important, because I think that both of the previous one where it's like, but the hate that you've been feeling is a product of the fact that you're afraid. This one is kind of along the same lines, where it's a lot simpler. There's a lot less words, but it leads into the next thing where it says, dead already? No. Like, I'm still going. I'm still here. I'm still doing it. Like, I might feel like this. Like, I might feel like lonely and terrible and just down on myself, but I'm not dead. I'm still here. I'm still doing that work.
Where this line took me is, are you a Beartooth fan?
No, actually, no. I've had so many people who are like, "Oh, you love Beartooth." I'm like, I've never really like given them the time to listen. I know that they're huge for mental health purposes and stuff like that.
Yeah. Off their new album, there's the very song. The first song is called Surface, and the way he starts it off with, "I might have pushed it to the limit, but I'm not dead yet," and it's just talking about like. Yeah, I've played with death maybe a few times. Yeah, I've gone through my struggles, but I'm still here. I'm still standing. I'm not dead yet.
Exactly.
That's where that takes me
exactly.
to. Yeah.
That's it, right? It's just like this whole, the period of, the vulnerability, right? And reflecting on where you're at, honestly. And then just going, you know what?
Being honest with yourself.
Yeah. I'm not dead. I'm still surviving.
Yeah. Well, since there's not too many new lyrics, I say let's just continue writing this track out. Let's rock out together for a little bit, and then we'll talk these final lyrics afterwards.
Sounds good.
Hell yeah. I want to say with that track, with that voice, project, with the way that you're singing that, I think I might have figured out what it reminds me of, but I'm still not sure. But at the very end of City of Evil, MIA, when like the guitar,
Oh yeah, I didn't even think about that.
When the guitars get a lot softer, and then it's kind of like Matt does his thing, but it kind of sounds like low, like the tone of it kind of goes to that deeper, lowish tone.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
The guitars kind of start to fade out a little bit. That I think that's what this reminds me of.
It's you know what's funny is I actually I talked to Sinister Gates, and he was telling me about, you know, was essentially what he did is he challenged me to make this record very dynamic, and so one of the things that I tried to do was to try and structure my tracks and stuff to that. And I've on the last record, on the self-titled, I was really like when I learned how to sing, and I loved doing the harmonies.
Yeah, you got a great singing
them.
voice, man.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate that. But I loved building the harmonies, and I was like, I want to just try and build my own. And I know that Brian's a big fan of the Beach Boys, so I was like, let me try and make a Beach Boys kind of harmony where I start to stack all of these things and get all the motion and stuff like that in there, because I think that, you know, the part itself, like the instrumentation, is not very complex in this part, but the vocals add the extra layers and the extra notes and chords to make it interesting. And so yeah, this was my little like Beach Boys part for Brian.
One thing I was thinking of too, maybe it's not MIA, maybe it's Fiction that I'm thinking of.
Oh yeah, that's a good
because
the high
that
harmony
song is very kind of haunting. It has this like creepy, haunting kind of vibe to it. Can you hear it at all though? Like maybe a little bit of Fiction.
No, absolutely. Jimmy is like up here for me. Jimmy is like the top of the top. I like huge influence on my writing, and just creativity and all of that. And I've been a fan of Avenged for fucking like 20 years. You gotta be like,
about right
at this point, man. Like, so he's, you know, in everything really.
I don't, since you know the voice, I'm gonna drop something. I don't, you know, it's my cool story that I have. So I was at a job. I used to work in full time in film and TV, and there was an editor who was on the team, and she was showing me photos of her son. And in one of the photos, her son, I don't know, he's like 10 years old. He was wearing a Death Bat shirt. I was like, oh, that's sick. I like your son's shirt. And she was like, oh, you know Avenged Sevenfold? I'm like, yeah, they're my favorite band. She goes, no shit. And then I showed her my tattoo, and she was like, can I take a photo of that? I'm gonna send it to Jimmy's mom. And
Wow.
I'm like, what do you mean? What do you mean you're gonna send it to his mom? And then it hit. Her last name was Sullivan. And I'm like, no. What do you
Dude, that's awesome. That's awesome.
And I was like, wait, how are you like connected with that? So she married into the family. She married one of his brothers.
Oh, wow.
And the brother recently passed.
Oh, fuck.
But
recently, or was this back
yeah,
then?
well, I think it was about a year ago.
Oh, fuck.
But so that was her husband. She married into the Sullivan family, and Jimmy's mom, after she saw the photo of the tattoo, she wrote me a note and sent me a Jimmy poster.
That's amazing.
So I get a package from Miss Sullivan with a Jimmy poster and a handwritten note, and like that is one of the most valuable things that I have. I'm like, holy shit,
Dude, that's incredible. That's incredible. Oh,
But that moment when I realized her last name was Sullivan, I got chills that ran up my body. I'm like, oh my god,
dude, it's incredible.
He meant so much to me. The Rev meant so, dude. When he passed, like my world just kind of, I know it really affected me. Like I felt like I lost a family member. Because especially at that time, like they were the biggest thing in the world to me, and they meant everything in the world to me. And then when Nightmare came out, man, I remember the first.
You remember that? Dude.
I remember the first tour that they did after that. I want to say it was Uproar Festival. It was like the next
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, when they came back, and their backdrop was Jimmy. You know the photo of them all hugging in a circle.
I know exactly what you're talking about,
dude. And there was just. That was the first time I'd heard that track live, and I remember when he passed thinking, is this the end of Avenged Sevenfold? Like, are they done now? I went into this crazy, like, just panic, depression, and when I heard that they were coming back and they were bringing Portnoy on the road with them, I'm like, holy shit, they're gonna do this thing. And when that curtain dropped and Jimmy was right there, I lost it, dude. When they played So Far Away, fucking lost it. It was a very emotional show. I've
had the great fortune to see them play many, many times. I've seen them play in like a small space, but I work for them. I do their.
You work for them?
Yeah, the Discord stuff. I do their Death Paths Club. I do everything like that.
Oh shit.
So I was out in yeah.
That's rad.
Yeah. So I was out working with them in September, and they played Soldier Field with System of a Down.
This sweater's from that tour, but I went to the
Did you go to the MSG one?
No, it was in MetLife.
Yeah. Oh, that's what it was. Yeah,
yeah, it was them and Korn.
Yeah.
Oh,
so,
I wanted to go to that Chicago. I used to live in Chicago, and it was
right
next to where I used to live.
Bring it up.
I'm like, oh fuck,
dude. I can't tell you. So Far Away has meant a lot to me, just personally for different reasons. But the watching them play that song to a sold out stadium. And I was up, I wasn't really like on the barricade, but I was close up there. And I always like to take a picture of like the phones in the crowd, and lighters or whatever. But for the first night that I played, I just took in, how, talking about how much songs mean to other people, right? How much the art means to someone, all of that energy. Dude, I took a look during Brian's solo, like just
Dude, that
throughout
solo
the
hits. It
stadium.
gives me chills every time I hear that solo.
Well, you know what's really funny is this next thing that's going to come up. That it's very Gates coded,
Cool.
because it reminds me very much of So Far Away. But the just panning around watching that, like I don't think I've ever felt so much gratitude for an artist and what they mean to me, but not like just for what they mean to everyone else. Like that was one of the maybe the single most powerful moment I think I've ever experienced in a live scenario.
You know, up until I don't know 2017, that I had that was the same with me. You know, seeing them play that stuff live. But I'm gonna say, after Chester Bennington died, they put on a show at the Hollywood Bowl.
Yes,
and it was called Celebration of Life of Chester Bennington at the Hollywood Bowl, and I was there.
Were you really?
Yeah,
dude. I watched that like the live stream.
Dude, when they did Numb and just the microphone was standing in the front of the stage, and the crowd was singing Numb. Like I don't even think Mike jumped on the song at all.
Chills.
I think they just left the mic out and everybody was just singing. That moment was probably the most powerful moment in music and the most emotional that I've ever witnessed.
It's legitimately amazing that you guys experienced that, brother.
And Shadows and Gates were there. They came out at the end.
They did, yeah.
Faint. And System of a Down was there. Just like all these fucking it was just a wild night of emotions, man. I can't talk about it too much because the Chester conversation gets me emotional.
Yes. I remember Chester, Chris Cornell, that whole thing. It fucked me up.
That's when suicidal thoughts really started to creep in my head. I'm like, if Chester was going through it and couldn't pull himself out of it, what makes me think that I can? That's where my mind went. I spiraled really bad.
But man, if there was anyone that would have believed in you, it would have been Chester.
Sorry.
No, you're all good, man. You're all good. All good.
After Chester passed, there was a hashtag make Chester proud. I don't know if you remember that.
I do.
And I think about that all the time. All the time. And for you to say that means a lot to me.
Dude, I mean,
sorry, you got me emotional here.
No,
but no,
like,
that really meant a lot when what you just said right now, because I do think he would be proud of something like this.
Dude, absolutely. I don't mean this. I don't mean it lightly either. You don't often get to have these types of conversations with people. I'm very fortunate to have had the conversations, like with my band members, with Avenged, funnily enough, but also like, and you. And this is not something that, I often get the opportunity to do. It's something that I've talked about, with exes and stuff like that, and people that have been close to me. But as an individual, I don't think that we get, not even just an artist, as an individual, we don't often have the opportunity to speak freely and speak honestly and be vulnerable. Like we were just going over with vulnerability, man. Like, it's being honest and being truthful, being aware of how you feel is a heavy topic for a lot of people. And it's an uncomfortable topic if you are afraid of it. And I think that I never knew him. I can't say that I ever did or will. But I feel like, the idea that I have of Chester in my head, what he stood for, what he talked about, what he sang about, I think you would be so proud of this. Because you give people like him an opportunity to speak their mind and wear their emotions on their sleeve. I've only known you for 2 hours, but we've gone through some really, really tough shit. both me and you. And through that, your podcast did that, brother. So thank you.
That means more to me than you can ever know, honestly. Because I do keep the make Chester proud thing very close to my heart. And I actually made a documentary about him after he passed. Yeah, and it was how it affected the fans.
Can you send that to me? I'd love to watch that.
Absolutely. Yeah, I will.
Thank you.
And yeah, it was a very emotional documentary. People were crying, talking about their favorite Linkin Park memories. Since you're such a fan, there's actually kind of a story I want to tell you that's pretty funny, and it'll kind of snap me out of this crybaby phase. Well, I know we've been on this a while. Are you good on time? Are you?
No, totally good.
You're good. Okay.
Totally good. Yeah.
So I got to meet Chester once, actually twice, but the second time was I used to hate telling the story, but now I fucking love it. So after they released Meteora, they went on the Meteora tour run. There was like Hoobastank was there, POD was there, fucking Story of the Year was there. It was such an incredible show. And I used to be fans of like going on websites and message boards and like chat communities, like when that was like super. I mean, maybe it still is. I just don't do it anymore. But I had read on a message board that at one of the shows, they called an audience member on stage to play guitar during Faint. And I had just picked up guitar. And I'm like, I wonder if I should learn Faint and try to see what happens. And so in my mind, I'm like, I'm going to buy a neon green sign with huge letters, I can play Faint, right before I know they're going to go into it. Because I already knew what the playlist was, because I was on those sites, so I knew what they were doing, so I knew when it was coming. So here I go. I learn the song. I nail it. And I go to the show. I bring this huge neon sign. All it reads is, I can play Faint, and an arrow pointing down at me. And then all these people in my section saw me do that, and they all started to point at me. And it caught Mike's attention. And he goes, oh, I see that sign over there. He goes, can you really play Faint? And I'm just like, from a distance, because I was in the pit somewhere. So like, I was like, yeah. He's like, all right, come on up. So I go on stage. The security guards pull me up on stage. And the first person to approach me was Chester.
Dude.
And what he did...
You said, I met Chester Bennington. You didn't tell me you're going on stage with Linkin Park.
The first thing Chester did was give me a hug.
Dude. Amazing.
And then I turn around and Brad Delson hands me his fucking guitar.
Dude, what?
And Mike Shinoda is like, are you sure you can do it? You sure you can do this? And I'm like, yeah. But I was just so wrapped up in the moment. Like, I remember I looked back because Mr. Hahn was always kind of up on a pedestal because of this DJ thing. And I look back and I do this to Mr. Hahn. I do the what's up, and he's like scratching. And he goes, and kind of goes back and does his thing. But as soon as like those strings came in, when Faint started, I blanked out, dude. I lost it. I didn't know what I was doing. I completely forgot how to play the song. And I choked. And they ended up escorting me off the stage. The security guards ended up escorting me off the stage. They brought someone else up and they did it. And he had that moment where he got to perform Faint with Linkin Park. But it was just, dude, it was just everything. It was the hug from Chester, looking out at my hometown, and I'm on stage with Linkin Park, and I have friends and family at that show, and there's like 25,000 people there. It was that Eminem moment. I had one chance and one opportunity to seize that moment, and I fucking choked. I not only let Linkin Park down, but I let Eminem down. Damn. Whatever.
Dude, that's an amazing story, though.
I'm over it.
That's amazing.
I think about it all the time, though. I'm like, fuck, what would have happened if I would have pulled that shit off? How epic that would have been. Damn. I'm just glad I got to meet Chester.
Fuck yeah, man. That's awesome.
Well, that was Evolve by Monolith Zero. And the first thing I want to do is apologize, not to you, but to Avenged Sevenfold. I have a new favorite band, and they're called Monolith Zero. Monolith Zero.
I'm
Sorry,
gonna
guys.
text Matt tonight and be like, "Listen, brother, fuck you."
I Dude, it's so good, man.
Oh, thank you,
Like
brother.
I feel
it.
like the journey that I went on was like a magical journey, like just like out of this world, like a cosmic kind of thing.
Thank you.
I felt like it was very like the stage, and I could just see like the stars in the sky, and just like I felt just like, especially with like how cinematic it just felt bigger than the moment. You know, it felt like it just took me somewhere else, and that solo was amazing too. And I think
Thank you.
And I think the structure of the song fits the name of the song just so fucking perfect.
Thank you.
Good job, man. Good job.
You.
And the production value too. Like it just sounds like the highest fucking quality too.
Thank you, brother.
You know what I mean?
Thank you.
Wow.
I took forever on it. It took me ages.
How long did it take you?
Dog, I think I worked on this record for. I started with Element in December 2021. I finished it, the whole record, like August 2024. August 2024. So it took me like 3 years to kind of get there, you know? And
yeah, but you know what though? With how many layers are in there, with just how intricate and all the attention to detail things, the solos, just everything. I mean, when you do layers like that, it takes time. You know what I mean? Like it's not like a Blink-182 song where it's the same power chords over and over again. You know, like this is very like intricate, and there's a reason why Sevenfold take forever to put albums out.
No, I know. They mixed that cosmic snare. They mixed that. They spent like 3 days. You know those rocket ship snares in Cosmic?
Yeah.
It took them like 3 days to do that snare.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying, man. Like, you can't really compare yourself and the time frame that you set your expectations on, because then that kind of kills you a little bit.
Oh yeah,
good art takes time, dude.
Yeah, I think like if you're passionate about it, man, which I am, like it consumes you in ways that, like, you know, that kind of like that flow state, you know, where once you're out of it, as I said, I think at the top of all of this, where it's like you take a step back and you're just like, what the fuck was I doing? And then, but when you're in that state and all you're doing is just focusing on, you know, just achieving the thing that you need, getting it right.
Yeah.
You know, there's plenty of things technically with this album that I'm like, oh, I probably could have mixed that better. I could have mixed that better. But for what it is, and for the time period that it was, for everything that it represents to me, it's perfect. You know, and that takes time.
Yeah. I wrote and directed a horror film when I was living in LA, and it took me 5 years from the first day of production to when we released it on Blu-ray. 5 years. So I get it. I get, you know, having this art that you so badly want to put out, but you just can't. It's not ready.
No. Yeah.
It's not ready. There's still one more little thing I need to change. You know?
But it's
well,
not even,
yeah.
it's not even just that, man. It's like, you know, you mentioned that this last part just being like, you know, it's like got that larger than life aspect to it. And for me, like we talked about this whole experience, being vulnerable and all of that. There's, at the end of it for me, it's love, right? It's, to me, there's no more powerful of an emotion, a action, anything like that. It's love, right? And for this particular section, it's you know, it's like, what am I saying? It's like I'm seeking peace out of my own. Why, oh why, what lies beneath the chasm grows. And then I go into the thing that kind of repeats itself a couple times, but I change things here and there. Sometimes hearts should be left alone so you can stay away. sometimes hearts should be left alone, so you should stay away. Sometimes hearts should be left alone, but you can't stay away. And that one's tucked. That last little one is tucked in the production. But because I did some copying and pasting, because that fucking part is hard. But that idea of like, you know, you're constantly like, you can stay away. Like I can't be loved. You should stay away. Like I'm open to it. And the last one is, but you can't stay away. You know, like I don't feel like I'm deserving of it, but I'm accepting it anyway. You know, and that whole, like that solo, whenever I hear that, whenever that shit kicks in, I'm just filled with love and gratitude. And it's the subs, it's the choir, it's all of those things that get into making that just feel, you know, like there's like the stars going by, that there's, you just filled with that gratitude and that love, not only just for, you know, the people in the world around you, but for yourself. And it's, you know, at the end of this, right, and being your best self, evolving into that person, the journey that you're on, to me, that's what's at the end for me. It's just being that love, being it for someone else, being it for, you know, my family and my friends, being it for people that I've just met, being it for myself, and understanding that, you know, love isn't just, you know, a romantic love. Love is more than just that. Love is, it's the intention. It's all of those things that, you know, just being kind, giving someone your full attention, you know, all of that. That's what it is. And to me, like the person that's on the other end of my journey, I hope that whoever I am, whenever I die, that is the impact that I left on people, that I loved. You know, I loved myself, I loved them, I loved everyone that was around me that I brought into my life. Because I think that we're all deserving of that. And myself too. I'm deserving of that as well.
One place that it kind of took me to the end of this song, I definitely felt like it was bigger and, you know, larger than life, and I talked about the stars and whatever, but it also takes me to like a spiritual place too. Like it almost feels like that's that place where it's like your Zen place. You finally have gotten to a place of just living in the moment and accepting the atmosphere around you, because when you can do that, your life changes.
Yes.
Like you view life a completely different way.
Dude, 100%.
It's a whole different world.
We're on the same wavelength right now, because this whole, like I said, there's 3 parts to this song. Yeah. And I don't mean to cut you off, but there's 3 parts to it. So there's the first part, which is that filled of that, you know, like the worst part of you, right? There's the middle part where that's just at this particular point in time, that's where you are, that's where you're at. And then the last is where you want to be. And it really just, you know, like I said, like you have to be that. You have to become that. You have to let yourself be those things. You know, like when I tried to be my best self, it's a decision that I make. It's something that I wake up in the morning and I try to do. It's a decision that I make, you know, before I speak to someone new, or maybe I've spoken to someone I've known for years, and to be that, you know. And for this, it's like I'm seeking peace out on my own. Why what lies beneath the chasm grows. It's like the longer I seek, the less I know. The more I be and just allow myself to be in that moment, then all of it will come. You know, because I know where I want to be. I trust myself that I will get there. And, you know, it's supposed to hit like a truck. It's supposed to feel like that, because when you do understand, there's that perspective shift and you go, oh, fuck. You know, like, this is what I've been missing out on. This is what I feel that I've, you know, deprived myself of. for so long, and now I get it.
Yeah, that song is a journey. Like it starts off kind of, in my opinion, very heavy and kind of like not knowing where you're at in life. And like I said, turning around the curve there, maybe you're trying to drive into a wall.
Mm-hmm.
But that's because of your mind and what you tell yourself. And at the end of this song, it feels like a flip, that the person is now in control of things.
Yes.
So it's a very powerful message from start to finish. And even musically, it's a journey.
Yeah, if you think about it, it goes from minor, and it ends on a major. It's E flat major. It ends on. Actually, it doesn't end on that really, but it's either a B flat major or an E flat major. Like it's one of the others. It's you go from that C minor, like darkness, to something that's bright.
Yeah,
something that lifts you up. I even have. And I'm just going to say it because I feel like no one ever hears it. But at the end of the song, where it does like the bum, 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 and it just kind of does the thing, there's a little hum that I do. It's like, and I just take myself down. So it's the major scale there, but
that's your meditation moment. Let me just relax from this crazy journey that I was just on. This is going to bring me from here to here, but this is where I want to be, back in that calm space.
Yes.
The crazy thing is, back home. The crazy thing is, where my mind goes because of my bipolar, these are the things that I go through daily. Like one day I'll wake up super fucking happy, and the next day I feel like I'm better off not being here.
Right.
And then, but there's days that I'm super happy. And so the reason why I'm saying all this is because there's a lyric in your song, the cycles.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I feel like my mind does every day. It's like on this cycle of like, I'm good, then I'm bad, then I'm good, then I'm bad, then I'm good. And that, it's very hard to live with that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I feel like I got this song, like I understood it on a spiritual level. Instead of just lyrics and, hey, this is motivational and you got this and let's change your life. No, like I was like, no, I feel like a spiritual connection with the song. It's kind of weird.
No, but that's, yeah, man, going back to the beginning where I was just like, people come up at the end of it, they go, I don't know what the fuck that was, but whatever it was, like, that was amazing. Yeah. And I think that, like, it's, I just try to, to put my all into this, into the art, into, just.
And you can tell that you did, just from all the little things, all the layers, how many years you put into it, the vocal training that you probably had to do, like all of it. Like you don't dedicate yourself to something like that unless you're all in.
Yeah. And you have to be all in.
You have to.
People can sense passion, man.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, like you can. It's something innate that I've never really been able to figure out. But people can tell when you're bullshitting, or people can tell 100%. When it's like, oh, it's not really, you don't actually believe what you're saying.
Right.
And to me, like, I know, like, when I write something and it's not right. Mm-hmm. I know when I can write, like, and it's just not the truth. Yeah. And I go, oh, fuck that, or when I have that thought in my head. And I think about, and I used to be a lot more spiritual, but there's the next. I guess I'll spell it to you, but the next song that's coming out is actually it's an older song, but I redid it. There's this concept of I that I love to think about, and that whole song, it's about it's like I am I, right? And I go through that on a couple of different things. There's my song Secret that goes through that I am one, I am all, that type of thing. But I am is the name of the next one, and it's a very heavy song. It's very like, that kind of Meshuggah heavy type of thing. Just super, like it's heavy. I'll send it to you afterwards. But it deals with this concept of I am I, and there's just I feel like I've lost my train of thought. Hold on. But there's just that belief that I am I. I am who I am. I'm not going to change. That just and it eventually goes into I am love. you know, and it's just very chaotic. So there's a lot of shit going on, and
it's almost like it's almost like through the madness, you can still find your way out. And, you know, there's that bright light, there's that love at the end of it.
But not even that. It's the screaming it to the heavens part of it that I don't have recorded, but I have the original one that I did, and that particular track, I had never sang that track before I recorded it. I had only ever like just thought about it in my mind. I was like, I had done a recording session, and I had my friend Matt Gund, rest in peace, from Letter of Mark, recording my song "Not Afraid" with me, and we had some extra time, so I was like, "Oh, I'm just gonna do I Am." Like, I'm here, the microphone's set up. Let's just run it. And I was like, I've never done it before, and I really just was like, I might as well give it a shot. You know, like I had gotten paying for the time. It was like $400. So I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna make use of all the time. I'm not gonna sit around. And I can't tell you. This is before I got vocal training. This is before I adapted this style of screaming that I have. I was yelling into the microphone, bro, and I was just screaming to the fucking heavens. I am love. And like I listen to that stuff and I get chills because I'm like, I believe that. I believed it at the time. Absolutely. Yeah, and there's just something about the performance. There's something about like when you mean what you say.
Yeah, 100%.
People can just tell the difference.
Yep. I agree.
And like for this one, it's like, yeah, I believe every single word that I said through here.
And then when you find someone else that gets it, you're like, sick.
Yeah, it's just like, you know, brother, like I said, I don't write for anyone but myself.
Right.
You know, and when people do get it, it's like it's like an unspoken thing. Like you don't need to explain it more. Like we just get it. I know you get it. It's like that whole perspective that we shared earlier, where it's like, if you've gone through stuff and you have that understanding with someone else, you see things from that, you know, that perspective where you've grown and you've evolved. It's like you just pick up on it. You don't need to ask. You just know.
Yeah.
And, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wild episode for me, man. Really
I'm glad. It's a good one, bro. I'm glad. I really enjoyed this conversation, dude.
Good. Me too. All right. Well, if any, so two more questions, and then we'll wrap this up. What does 2026 look like for Monolith Zero? What do you got coming up? What is the future of this band looking like right now?
Well, so we've got the first thing on our docket is we've got the Vakken Metal Battle, which is happening on March 13th at the Wood Shop in Brooklyn, and we're playing with a bunch of really cool bands.
Yeah, I might have to just stop by.
You should, bro. It's in your neck of the woods.
It is,
and it's we're playing on it's Friday the 13th. So I mean, it's a good day to go see a metal show.
Yeah.
But we're playing that. It's our debut with our new drummer Zach. We'll be playing Evolve in addition to two other songs.
I do videography, so I might just have to bring my black magic and shoot some cool live footage.
I'd love that, bro. I absolutely would love that. But yeah, we've got that coming up.
Cool.
This year, we're gonna try and do. I'm trying to try and do more singles, as albums are a lot to do. They're a lot to take in, and I feel like I've got a lot of like little things I want to say, but not necessarily like a whole. I don't want to get too involved in making the record, and I've set myself up to make a lot more just bang out music. I've got a new setup. I've got everything. So I'm trying to get more singles out. As I mentioned, I Am will be the next song that comes out. So I probably will do that after the metal battle. So maybe sometime in April. And then I've got some other songs that I've been working on as well too in the back. We've also we're going to do some shows alongside the Avenged and Good Charlotte tour dates. We're definitely going to try and do a Long Island show because that's home and they're playing out here.
AMH?
Try and do, yeah, probably AMH if I
Cool.
can. I have to actually organize it this month. But probably AMH if I had to bet, and if not, it'll probably be somewhere nearer to. Maybe we'll do Brooklyn again, just nearer to the cities. I know a lot of people will be flying in.
Cool.
With that said, a lot of our fans are, local or not local to us. We've got a decently nice online presence with people all over the world.
Very cool.
In large part to Avenged, so thank them for that. But one of the things that we're trying to do, not only just go along with the tour there, but I developed this thing with Shadows actually called the Super Ticket, which is trying to redo, or rather take ownership over where we go and what we do, instead of trying to be beholden to like a promoter, or be have to deal with, like, we're not dealing with Ticketmaster, but that type of thing. So it's like our own Ticketmaster. So it's called Super Tickets. So the first Super Ticket tour we're hoping to do sometime in the fall. And what that is essentially is people have bought their tickets already. Some people have done it, but it's still open. I've had a lot of life stuff happen over the past couple of months that are really close to home, so I really haven't been able to develop it as much as I've wanted to. But the idea is that people, who purchase the tickets, they get to dictate where we go. And so it's like, if you like the whole idea of come to Brazil, it's like, if you want us to come to Brazil, we're going to set this thing up. It's almost like a GoFundMe in a way, but basically what you do is you buy the ticket, which serves as your entry to the show. And then you get to vote on where we go, so you can put in the suggestions. So let's say you wanted us to come to Brazil. You could buy your tickets, have your friend buy some tickets. You put in the suggestions that you want us to come to Brazil, and then we hold a vote, like a ranked choice, like the city elections, for where we end up going. And we'll pick hey, we're gonna, pick this week or in this week, and we're gonna play X amount of shows, and we're gonna go based off of where people want to see us. And then, so the first one we're trying out is going to be the Southwest. So we're hoping to just kind of narrow it down to California, Vegas, Arizona kind of area. We're hoping to do that in the fall sometime.
Cool.
And so far, we've got at least enough funds to do 2 shows, and cool. totally on us, doing the whole, we'll rent out the venue, the whole thing, we'll staff it, get food trucks, all that stuff. So it's
that's a pretty amazing concept. I can't tell you how many times that I've had a favorite band, but they just never come around me, and I'll be like, what can I do to get them here? I would do anything to get them out here.
Mm-hmm.
And then when the band see that the fans have that passion, it just fuels the band even more to be like, yeah, let's fucking get out there.
Yeah, and that's literally what it's all about, man.
Yeah,
that's what it's all about. Because it's I think this is a whole nother conversation for another time. But I think where we're headed with labels and stuff like that, I think that they're at some point they're just kind of banks for people, and you can do what you can with the funds that you have, but when you're pulling it out of your own pocket, it's really tough to fund things. And I feel like I've got a decent business acumen, but one of the things that I've tried to do for a long time is just make Monolith sustainable. Just try and make it so I'm not burning a hole in my pocket all the time. And honestly, the most important thing that you can do for anyone is play live, and make that connection face to face.
Yeah.
And for me, the problem has been our fans aren't all here. A lot of them do travel and have traveled to New York to come see us play.
Wow.
And at some point I'm I got to hold up my end of the bargain. We've got to get out to you guys. And this idea with the Super Ticket is that, if they want us to go to a particular place, one of the places we were looking to play was Huntington Beach, because we share a lot of fans with Avenged. that it's like I know that people would love to go to Huntington Beach or love to go to Vegas or whatever.
What's that bar in Huntington called?
Johnny's.
Johnny's, yeah.
Great bar. Great bar. If you're ever there, ask for Rachel. Rachel's awesome.
I went there one time because why did I? It was when Hail to the King came out. Oh yeah, because they played a show at the Hollywood Palladium.
Yeah.
It was like a record release show.
Mm-hmm.
And
that was when Shadows had long hair.
It was. Yeah, absolutely it was. And then so they were doing like a giveaway thing, but you had to go in person to Johnny's.
Yeah.
So I drove out to Huntington, was out there for hours, and because they had done like a photo shoot in that bar too.
Yeah.
It was like they had a whole setup. They were playing the new music in there, and it was just a fun experience. It was cool.
Dude, Johnny's is awesome. I got to go 2024. They played a really tiny show. They played at what was it called? Some tiny ass place in not Chula Vista, in Santa Clara, and it was this really, really tiny venue, and it was like 1,000 cap, and it was like this throwback Halloween thing. But I finally got to make the Mecca out to Johnny's, and I was like, this is so fucking cool. I was inside, and like Brandon Sollers at the table next to me. I was like, oh shit, cool. Yeah, no, it was so cool. And so my friend Courtney did you ever read Death Bat News when you were younger?
Death Bat News, no.
Well, eventually she got she was like the one news source for like all the fans for a long time. Like she'd get all like the if they did like an interview, if they did a photo shoot or whatever, and then she would just put it up on her site. Okay. But they eventually ended up hiring her to, just be Death Bat News, but official.
Cool.
So she's been doing that for forever.
That's cool.
So she knows Brandon just through the guys. So we were all just hanging out. I'm like sitting at a table with Courtney and whatever. And then Brandon's at the table next to with his wife. And it was just like, I'm like, this is so fucking, they got the guitars up on the wall and they're playing all the music. I'm like, this is so cool, man.
Yeah.
Like it feels like as an Avenged fan, just being able to go to Johnny's. Yeah. Just in general, it's like you've made the Mecca, you've made the trip,
Yeah. And absolutely.
Highly recommend if anyone listening is an Avenged fan, which I know that many of you will be. But the just making that trip, totally worth it. And I know that a lot of people would like to go out to Huntington or go out to LA just to go to catch a show. And I had hooked up with the Blackcraft guys. They had we won their Battle of the Bands last year. And Bobby and the crew. Yeah, Bobby and the crew, like they very graciously offered to help us set up a show out there. So definitely gonna try and do LA or Huntington, and then hopefully Vegas or Phoenix. But it's open to people. So if they want us to go to San Fran, if they want us to come to San Diego, if they want us to go to Reno, like we'll go. Yeah. Like just tell us where you want us to go.
That's a cool concept.
Yeah.
So if somebody were to go, hey Nick, where's the best place to keep up with everything Monolith Zero, where would you send them?
Honestly,
and do you have a preferred platform?
Well, dude, the best way to interact with me and to interact with the band in general is actually on our Discord. Mm-hmm. It's discord.gg/Monolith Zero. You can also find it on our Instagram, which if you clicked in through the links, Instagram I think would be the second best way to interact with us. I'm not too much of an Instagram head myself. I try not to use social medias when I can. But as far as the band account goes, I'm usually logged into the band account no matter what. But if I post anything, I'm going to post in Discord first, and then it'll find its way to Instagram and Twitter. And I hardly ever use Facebook, but Facebook is there too. I think I just cross-post Instagram.
So the best place to stay updated is to go to your link tree and find that Discord link.
Absolutely, that's the spot.
And press join.
Yep, that's it. I mean, you can interact with us directly. Yeah. We've got we've done a lot of stuff with the Discord, man. It's cool. Really cool. We have like movie nights. We have whatever. I've done, we got the super ticket stuff is all done through the Discord. It's really it's like the place to be. Like if you're a fan of ours and you just want to have the connection with us, I think real time connection is so much better than just posting. So it's the spot where you can reach us best.
Yeah, I'm actually starting a Discord for Heavy Mental Breakdown. A place where we can just talk music and break down lyrics together, and somebody can be like, "Hey, what do you guys think of this track?" And we just kind of talk and hang out. And it's even a safe place too, like just to be a community together. Like doing this podcast has brought a lot of people together, and has brought out a lot of emotions. Has made a lot of people closer, bands closer. Because a lot of times I'll get bands on here, and then like the lyricist will talk about what they were talking about, what they were meaning in that track, but the drummer would be like, "I didn't even know you meant it that way."
Yeah.
You was like, I took it in my own perspective. So there's like these crazy things going on. Go figure. Once you start talking to people, you start to figure things out.
Exactly.
And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to do a Discord. I feel like it would be something pretty cool. So
yeah, I mean,
I'm going to give it a shot.
Yeah, I think it's a great platform. I think just the concept of having a real time, way to communicate with people, as opposed, I mean, like, you can post in a Discord and someone answers a couple hours later, but when they do answer, it's that they're there. With Instagram and stuff like that, you can do passively like a like, or now you can do like the repost and stuff like that. But it's very like you're not sitting there talking to someone. And for me, like if I like to use a social media, like I liked Twitter for a long time because Twitter was like, if you're gonna get a like the following tab, it's like it's the most recent thing that was posted by someone that you follow. And I'm like, I like that. If I'm being on social media, I want to be clued in like that.
Yeah.
Instagram and stuff like that. You got
want to
stuff
fill a part
7
of
days
it.
out. Yeah. And I think there's nothing better than like a Discord for that. So highly suggest you do. I think if you do, let me know.
What's that? What's the handle for Monolith?
On Instagram, it's at Monolith Zero Band.
Okay.
On Facebook, I believe it's the same because it's both under Meta. So at Monolith Zero Band. Twitter, I think it's just at Monolith Zero.
Cool.
And YouTube, I think, is also at Monolith Zero Band.
So you basically what you're saying is you couldn't make it easier for everybody to go and find you because you're on it all and it's straight to the point. Monolith Zero Band for most of it. Dude, thank you so much for spending this cold night out in New York, chatting with me, hearing me cry, talking Linkin Park and Avenged Sevenfold, two of my favorite bands of all time. I mean, I get very emotional when I talk about this stuff, just because it means so much to me. And when you can connect with someone on that same level, something spiritual there. So this was a very fun interview. The track was amazing. Sorry, Avenge. I have a new favorite band. Dude, I hope to see you in person soon. I should stop by that show that's out here in Brooklyn. On the 13th.
Brother, I'd love to see you, and thank you for having me on. This was great. I just really enjoyed the time. I really enjoyed the conversation, and
Cool.
Thank you for doing what you do.
Thank you.